Now, Anne, I want to talk to you about this thing called the quarter-life crisis. Is it a real thing, or is it something that people of my generation have just made up to make us feel better about ourselves, which many people seem to think is the case, especially on social media?
Okay, well, I guess the jury's still out on that one for many people. For me, it's actually quite a serious situation, and I'm seeing more and more people, in fact, who feel that they're experiencing a quarter-life crisis. In terms of the uncertainty around it and controversy, I guess they can't pinpoint it to any psychological researcher. Erik Erikson, possibly with his categories of the various stages of man, but what is evident is that globally, how it's come about is that there's this transition either from students leaving university and entering the workplace for the first time and really struggling with that transition, or people who've moved into the workplace, they're moving into their early 30s and just experiencing dissatisfaction with the type of work that they've done, and then that's known as thrisis. Why I believe that it's very much real is that these transitions in terms of early career are so often accompanied by lifestyle changes as well, in that at that sort of age group, anything from your 20s to your early 30s, most often you're settling into a relationship and moving into a partnership and getting married, and sometimes having baby number one, baby number two, or finding actually the marriage hasn't worked, so it's separation and divorce. And these things compound the work situation. There's a responsibility to now provide for the family, but I'm hating what I'm doing. So what do I do now? And actually some panic can set in. So very, very real. Also find that students kind of miss their university lifestyle, their friends that they've made there. They don't know how to manage the work politics, the work environment, dealing with a supervisor perhaps so there's no feedback, and all those sorts of things. So it all adds to something that can be a huge frustration and can lead to all sorts of problems if not sorted.
Now, of course, these are all things that many South Africans at this age are dealing with, but how do we cope with them?
I think to acknowledge is a very good idea, and it's vital in fact, and to realize, hey, things aren't as I thought they would be, so what's the gap? And back again to a reassessment of self, and what is it that I want to do? Is this work not good for me, or are there other factors at play? Maybe I'm burning out in the work environment because I haven't got my work-life balance sorted. It's about, if it is something to do with a career and you think after all these years of studying this isn't me, well, in a sense it's not too late, and it's about studying and getting out there and seeing what is available for you. I think the big panic sets in where students have really, really worked at, multiple degrees sometimes, right the way through to a master's degree, and they think, but hang on, I'm far too young to push on, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? But they think all of this investment, and then they get stuck in the panic of that. Whereas there are people out there to help and to acknowledge and have other people acknowledge too. Also, most comforting is just to normalize the whole situation and knowing that there are loads of people out there in the same place, and that there certainly are resources available.
And speak to us about yourself and your practice. If somebody watching this video is interested in what you're saying and possibly even speaking to you, where do you practice from and how can they contact you?
I practice from the southern suburbs, and they can contact me by Googling Anne Werner, without an E preferably, and they'll find me. And they can give me a shout or mail me, and I'd be happy to work with them. The work that I do is facilitative in that it's about the two of us working together to find what it is that's going to tick all the boxes and really to move somebody into a place where they're completely fulfilled and there is productivity. It's not a prescriptive, I say that you should do that, not at all. But it's also an encouraging them to be responsible and be accountable for their life. So that's what I do.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Teresa. Nice to be here.